I'm back to New Zealand. I've got 2 months time from now on, so that means I can either sail around the Northern Island or the Southern Island. I can't sail around the whole of New Zealand, it's not enough time for that. I would prefer to sail around the Southern Island. Especially here is a place called Fiordlands that should be wild and with no people. It sounds perfect for me. Departure from Nelson Harbour. Reykja's engine is working. Neville has replaced the fuel line, which had a crack. He also installed an electrical pump. Now I can bleed the diesel system easily. A halo around the sun, ice crystals. Sign of bad weather. My first destination, Abel Tasman National Park. Its signature, golden beaches. But I almost get tangled up before I even get there. Without any warning lights or buoys, I sail into a large field of nets. Why didn't I see them on the nautical chart? That's why they are marked, but as invisible as possible. I anchor in the shelter of a small island. Then I set off in search of the golden beaches. They exist and they are used for food. It would probably be very nice here if it weren't so cold and wet. I take a closer look at the weather forecast, and now it's getting really annoying. There will be virtually no wind on the South Island next week. And when the wind increases, it'll blow right on my nose. I have 600 liters of diesel, but that's not enough for such a remote land with no wind. I look at the North Island. There's wind here, lots of wind. Too much wind, in fact. But at least it's coming from the right direction. I throw all my plans overboard, including guidebooks and the Fiordland Pass, and decide I'm going to sail around the North Island. It starts with a close-hold course. Wet, but harmless. Then the waves get wilder. They are no higher than 3 meters, but they are very steep and come in every 5 seconds. I hide away. Sailing is not the problem at the moment. The boat sails itself. Heavily reefed jib and very little mainsail. That's enough. It makes Reykja quite slow, but if I would set more sails, then the heeling would be much more intensive. Even now, it's almost impossible to do anything on the boat. Even eating is a problem, opening drawers and so on. So all you can do is find a place, stick yourself in and wait. Maybe 24 hours until I have rounded the southwest corner, and then the swell should become less dramatic. The wind will keep up, but it'll be more enjoyable then. Water in the bilge. Salt water with a dash of engine oil. Where does it come from? The exhaust pipe of the diesel heater is sensibly mounted in the hull. Great for the Baltic Sea, not great for the Tasman Sea. And then there are these oil rigs. Reykja has magically drawn to 3 rigs in succession, and I can hardly navigate her in the rough seas. The waves are incredibly chaotic. I'm glad I don't have to swim here. My spray hood has recently developed a tear. Then, finally, Taranaki, a perfect volcano of the North Island. The waves calm down, the wind dies down, and so do I. I collect my bones and surf the net. What does this North Island have to offer? Obviously, little protection. I'm the only sailor far and wide on the west coast. But there are huge bays here, sheltered, so-called harbors. In front of each one is a sandbank, a bar. When there is wind or swell, the waves break here. It rains and storms with no end. On the east coast today, a mudslide crashes into a campground, killing many people. I hug the coast whenever I find it in the fog, but the waves are already creepy, just a few hundred meters away. The wind is supposed to pick up even more. I decide enough is enough and make my way to the easiest bar. A powerful tidal current flows out of Manukau harbor at a speed of 2.5 knots. It'll change direction at midnight. Armed with radar and a map, I sail into the pitch dark. It is high tide and the wind pushes the waves down. Next morning, I realize that I have found the perfect spot. It's also storm-proof. I put a leak plug in the exhaust pipe of my heater. Patrice's picture fell off the wall at night, landing just next to my head. I screw it back on more securely. The wind generator bracket is dangling. I replace 2 rivets. Then I pack up the spray hood and make my way to the sailmaker in Auckland. 3 hours under engine. Culture shock. Then 2 hours by bus. Friday noon. The sailmaker's not very enthusiastic. Understandable. Finally, he takes pity on me and patches it up within an hour. Reykja and the dinghy are still on place, but the anchorage is precarious. I install the repaired spray hood. A storm front comes from out of nowhere. The anchor slips. Reykja drifts towards the shore. I lift the anchor, get her on course, soaking wet, but due to the wind, the spray hood zipper tears open from the wrong end. A case for the sailmaker. But I don't dare to try a second time. I aim for a second harbor, Kaipara. It has a much more difficult bar. On leaving Manukau harbor, I get a taste of what's to come. If this is an easy bar, how difficult is a difficult one? I'm too late at the bar. High tide has been 2 hours ago and now the tide changed and it's current against the swell. I don't really want to see that. Tomorrow morning at 4 it should be much better. The only disadvantage is I can't see anything, it's dark then. I anchor in the middle of the ocean. The swell comes from the side. This night will be rocky. Next morning I set off at first light, 5:30. The entrance is winding and it gets shallower and shallower. 6 meters, 5 meters, 4 meters. Reykja has a draft of 2 meters. My heart is pounding. Please, no excessively large waves now.
That would have been a mistake to master this bar during the night. Thankfully, I waited until it became light, and that really was important to see things.
Kaipara Harbour, the largest natural harbour in the southern hemisphere, a mixture of cultivated land and sandbanks. If you go ashore here, you have to pay close attention to the tides. If not, the dinghy will be stranded and you will have a few hours to kill. I need fresh food. The nearest village is 15 kilometers away upstream. That's a long way in the dinghy. Oops, those were the eggs. Last leg, I want to sail around the northern tip of New Zealand, leave the Tasman Sea and enter the Pacific. The wind looks challenging, but okay. But when you switch to waves, it looks shocking. A swell over 5 meters high is approaching. If I sail too slowly, it'll catch me. I have planned the exit over the bar meticulously. The weather is as expected, but sailing fast against these waves on a close-hauled course, that's impossible.
The swell starts to build up, it's terrific. It's like huge walls coming along, and Reykja climbs them up very nicely. So, phew, that is good stuff.
Out of nowhere, a ship appears. It's heading straight for me. On the AIS, nothing to be seen. I radio it. A friendly warship on the warpath. At least they tell me which side they want to pass me on. At the northern tip it gets difficult. Trapped between a sandbank, the ever-increasing swell, and a massive countercurrent, I can no longer maintain my course. The sailor's emergency solution: start the engine. Yes, I know, sorry. At dawn it's done. New Zealand's North Cape. Reykja enters the Pacific Ocean.
Of all seas I've sailed so far, the Tasman Sea is most special. It can be unbelievable wild. I've seen the highest waves here. It can be calm with no wind at all. You've got these bars at the entrances. You've got beautiful waves and just very ugly waves. So there are many faces to this sea here.